One tall. Hello honeys, it's Yolz and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're well. I have been avoiding this question for the longest time. In fact, probably from the early days of me being on YouTube, but now I'm ready to answer it properly. I've sort of dabbled into answering it in some videos, but not as in depth as I want to go in today. Is YouTube money really sustainable? We're gonna dig deep into the finances and the reality of whether or not you can really live off this income from being a YouTuber and doing all the other things that we do, from the basis of really the springboard being YouTube itself. So before we get into this video, do subscribe if you haven't already, and if you do enjoy this kind of content, definitely give this video a massive thumbs up. Comment down below and let me know if you've got any other questions regarding money and YouTube and everything else surrounding the subject. And yeah, let's get straight into this video. Hey there. It's Yolz channel. So first and foremost, is YouTube money really sustainable? What does YouTube money really mean? I started earning YouTube AdSense from 2017, I believe. So I have explained the process. You get a check from YouTube, a physical one, to your physical address. And now to even get on AdSense and be monetized, there are a whole lot of rules around it. You have to have 1,000 subscribers and you have to have 4,000 watch time hours, I believe. However, there is a way of also bypassing that, which we will speak on a little bit later regarding YouTube Shorts. You don't need any of that to start earning. There is a fund dedicated for South Africans to the South African YouTuber that you can access should your short videos, your YouTube Shorts videos, reach a certain number of views, and you can access that. But that's not what we're talking about. Is it sustainable? Yes and no. No, in the beginning it is largely unsustainable. You cannot do this without some sort of main. You need a main job, like a proper full-time job, to really sustain YouTube, and vice versa, unless you are a student. In fact, that is the one biggest regret that I have. I wish I started YouTube while I was still in varsity. I probably would not have actually gone straight into corporate. I worked in corporate for almost 5 years, as most of you guys already know that story. And then I quit my corporate job in 2018, mainly because I was already having multiple streams of income. And the main reason was to pursue YouTube full-time. So that is the no part. No, it's not really sustainable if you are starting out. Secondary to that, once you start receiving it, is it sustainable? No. My first check was probably 1,500 and it grew to about 2,500-3,000 rand. The most I've ever made, and I'm gonna be really frank with you and honest here, in terms of checks from YouTube AdSense. In other words, every ad that you did not skip, you decided to watch, I get about 55 to 60% of that. So we share it with YouTube, right? So combined in a month, the most I've ever made was 12,500 rand. That was one of my biggest checks from YouTube, and I still really haven't seen anything more than that. I've still received around 12,500 rand in one single month. However, I am not the example. I'm not the exception either. There are people who really have a lot more views in general, a larger average of views than I do in general. Especially, like, I'm honest, I'm your regular schmegular content creator. I'm your girl next door. That's how I've branded myself. So your CPM refers to your cost per 1,000 impressions, is dependent on the category or industry that you're in. So if you're in the beauty space, the finance space, the tech space, you are most likely going to earn a higher CPM than other niches. But I do know tech and finance are the highest. Gaming as well, I think that falls under tech. Those are the highest ranking CPMs. In other words, the brands that are paying for the ads that are running on YouTube are paying a higher rate, and the pool of creators that are there are earning a whole lot more per 1,000 impressions, per 1,000 eyes per video. It sounds very small, it sounds very but it adds up. Our videos I still earn from older videos. Once you've got an archive of content, really that income does add up. But if you're in a niche like mine that is also oversaturated, that's the other thing that I didn't talk about, that pool of people in the finance space, South Africa in particular, and the tech space, South Africa in particular. It is very undersaturated. There's a limited number of YouTubers. So from the pool of advertisers, Sanlam, FNB, Nedbank, think about about the South African banks who are actually placing ads on YouTube. That amount of money that they've put behind those ads, only if there's only 10 finance creators or 10 tech creators, they get to share from that pool. So they earn a whole lot more, which is what actually drives the CPM higher too. Okay, it's a contributor. On the 15th to the 15th of the month, that is when it's calculated, and then you get your check around the 22nd, 23rd, 24th. If you've got YouTuber friends who are making the views, you must know that's when they start earning, you know. However, the salary payroll run is 15th to the 15th. Okay, so that is basically the no part in terms of being sustainable. The yes to that answer is the fact that YouTube definitely opens so many doors. And of course, we all know about sponsorships, we all know about paid ads, ad placements. I've spoken about that, and I'll link some of those videos here down in the description box. I don't want to get into those details. So in that regard, absolutely. In fact, I've got a clear example. When I had less than 1,000 subscribers, I had my first long-term contract with the beautiful Unilever. Most of you guys know this, and they were giving me a good amount of money every single month on top of my salary that I was earning from my corporate job. And on top of that, I was still getting my AdSense. Even if it was 1,500 when I was still starting out, I was doing YouTube for less than a year and I was already earning a good amount of income. My additional income was at a good 8 to 9,000 rand extra, combined with sponsorships as well as my AdSense income. And I'm talking about 2017. Okay, so in 2018 I started doing more brand deals on my Instagram. I believe I was charging between 5,000 and 6,000 rand for every picture. I didn't have that many followers. I probably had less than 10,000 followers, and I was expensive. Again, in this case, I would say I was the exception. I was in a niched space, natural hair space. They want a lot of us in the natural hair space, and I was definitely coining it. A lot of my peers even called me out and were like, "Girl, you know you're charging." But I was like, yeah, but if the brand is willing to negotiate, sit down with me and pay my rate, who am I to complain? This is a very unregulated market, by the way, and I won't lie, I definitely milked it in the beginning, especially where I found myself in a position where I was in an industry that did not have too many of us. It wasn't oversaturated at the time. I knew I was bringing value to the table. I was educating. Then I brought in the same year another form of income stream, which also allowed me to really leave my job without thinking twice. I was consulting businesses. Okay, I was literally speaking to natural, previously white hair focused brands who are focused on creating hair care for Caucasians who wanted to get into the natural hair space. I was basically educating these people who were scientists, chemists, owners, CEOs of companies. Others were basically just brand managers wanting to know what the natural hair care space in South Africa looks like and what are people looking for. And I was in the right space where the natural hair community founded itself between three groups. One was the beginner natural who knew absolutely nothing, transitioning from relaxer, going into natural hair and not knowing what they were doing. The other was intermediate. I just started this journey and I need help. I know about my hair porosity, but I don't know the science of black hair just yet. I'm still learning about it. And then you find the woke natural who knows everything and just wants to know from Yolz about what's trending, what's popping, you know, what's happening in the natural hair community. So I was basically finding myself in the right space, which is why I charged so much. So at the time, I probably had about 4 or 5 income streams. I could quit my job easily because now I sat down and I said, you know what? YouTube is now sustainable. Come 2019, I was now getting a consistent check of at least 5, 6, 7K. Okay, which led up to that 12.5K which I got in 2019, but then the pandemic hit us, so now basically that's my benchmark. I haven't had anything higher than that. But then I branched out, you know, I started consulting individuals, not just businesses but individuals. I started being able to then monetize through the different tools and the different things that Instagram was offering. Instagram stories, reels, IGTVs. It wasn't just a picture anymore. And then speaking at gigs, I was doing a lot of speaking gigs, guest speaking, doing demos on hair. I know with natural hair, what's it called, My Natural Hair, the brand, they literally were like the first people, I think, to allow me to just charge to speak for 10 minutes, doing a little demonstration on a hairstyle. Amazing. Thank you so much for all that because it also helped me charge. Then the other thing that I started adding in 2018 going over to 2019 was appearances, attending events. I was able to charge for that. I still charge for that. In fact, I've only done 4 events this year. Half of that, 50%, I did charge. So 2 of those events I charged. The third one was for kids, so I didn't want to charge because I wanted to take Faisy on the experience, and it was well worth it because the gifts we got back were far more than what I would have actually charged. He was happy. He had toys, he had clothing. He was really, really happy, and he got a brand deal off of that. So I'm good. I feel like I got paid. The fourth one was actually a YouTube event. I didn't get paid for that. I wasn't speaking, but other people were actually speaking on stage at that event, so they earned money off the back of just being there for a few hours at that event. Again, that's where I would say YouTube is then sustainable, because YouTube has then created these different platforms for us, almost like a springboard that has literally catapulted so many different avenues for us to make money. Okay, so now last year I started TikTok, and I hadn't really monetized TikTok because I was still very new. Was it last year or the year before? 2020, but I wasn't serious with it. Last year I made up my mind and I was like, you know what, I'm going to do this. Last year, September, I got serious with it, did my Makoti content, and by December, my TikTok was then getting brand deals. So anything that I was doing on Instagram, I was able to charge for TikTok reposts for that. Yeah, so basically that is the yes. It is sustainable in that regard, but I would say to you, come in strategic. The one mistake I made was coming in here and really being a friend, really being, guys, I really came in very naive, even though yes, I got strategic in between, and I really got to a place where I was also playing the role of an educator and earning from that as well, consultant, this and that. So many other things were birthed into it. But I know a lot of new YouTubers now are coming in with the mindset of, well, what am I here to do and how am I going to leverage on this? Give yourself 6 months on YouTube. I have consulted, and one of my top consultees, my mentees, who's now become a real friend, she literally started YouTube last year. It's going to be a full year. It was a full year last month, I believe. And she didn't have Instagram. She started her Instagram in January. She was fighting me. She said, do not let me go on Instagram. There's nothing there for me. And within the first month, we were able to negotiate something for her immediately. She's in a niched space, in the DIY space, and it's really about making furniture and deco pieces. So right now, she's sitting at least 5 brand deals. It's only the 4th month of her being active on her Instagram. Okay, and we've been able to leverage on that. So now she has been earning, and she's been earning far more than what she would have. She's sitting at 20,000 followers, by the way, within 4 months of using some of the strategies that I teach in my consultations, which I'm pausing right now. I want to focus on homeschooling phase. So I know the emails are going to come. This is why I haven't posted about it on Instagram as well. This space, you can milk it. Come in strategic, come in with a plan, not necessarily just having the money in mind, but having how you bring value to the table in mind, having your voice heard in the space that you feel you could bring value the most, because that's where you really charge. Nicolette Mashile, you already know financial fitness ban, you already can mark who she is. Sibu has now earmarked himself as a tech guy, Hale's world as well. She pivoted, but she went in with a plan when she decided to change her content direction. So I would say to you, if you want to make YouTube work for you, longer form content, which does take more time, you can charge more, because now when I sit on a stage, all of these things are in my mind, but if I'm speaking at an event, that's at least 10,000 Rand per hour that I'm there. If I'm speaking, minimum, usually 15, depends who I'm talking to. If it's government, of course, it's going to be more. If it's private, but my 10,000. That is literally me laying the foundation for this conversation. We can continue it in my next video. I want us to definitely delve in more into finances and creators. I also don't want us to feed into this mentality that we're not making enough. Is it sustainable? Yes. Once you've established yourself, yes, it absolutely is. People assume that YouTubers don't make enough money. No. For the bulk of us who've been around, we make a good living. I'm not going back to corporate anytime soon. There's no need for that. And there is a good living behind being a YouTuber. There are lots of opportunities that open up for you. However, I'm also going to say that if you want to grow fast, YouTube is probably not the platform. TikTok is. If you are an aesthetics girl, try Instagram, but it's probably going to be slower than TikTok, and do a backward integration. Come towards the shorts part. I wanted to talk about shorts quickly, but maybe in another video. Shorts basically are easy. They are short form content here on YouTube, and once you reach a good number of views, there has been 100 million rand, $100 million that has been allocated for South African YouTube creators to share in a portion of that money should they reach that threshold. Threshold because I haven't earned a single thing from shorts, but you don't need to have 1,000 subscribers. You don't need 4,000 watch time hours. You just need your video to go viral, which is a hard balance. But if your video has gone viral on TikTok, I say just remove the watermark and repost it here on YouTube and see what happens. You know, if you're still trying to figure out where you'd be in terms of niche, just post shorts, post funny things. There's music now that's added to shorts that you can add, like an Instagram story, which you could really just repost here. Okay, but we can delve deeper in that. You can let me know in the comment section if you want that. I just don't want this video to be too long. I love you guys so much, and if you did enjoy this kind of content, let me know down below. I love you guys so much. Mwah. Bye.